Welcome everyone. I love PvP. I used to PvP in Elder Scrolls Online a lot, and I used to do like people in World of Warcraft, and I love it. But I haven't PvP'd yet in Final Fantasy XIV, and I'm really curious on how PvP is in Final Fantasy XIV. So today we are going to have a look at 15-year WoW nerds' first impressions of Final Fantasy XIV's PvP. And I'm so excited and curious because I enjoy PvP a lot. So yeah, let's see how PvP is in FF14.
Have you ever had the urge to punch someone in the face?
I did, in fact.
Yeah, me neither. But anyways, yeah. PvP!
But only a few times in my life.
Now, I know no one really asked or probably even wanted me to talk about this aspect of Final Fantasy XIV, but if you ask anyone that knows me in WoW or even Final Fantasy XIV, you'll hear that I'm a bit of a PvP person.
Oh,
granted,
yeah.
I'm a bit of one of the oddballs because I actually enjoy the casual PvP variety, and like instance battlegrounds or world PvP or duels and whatnot. But regardless, my main interest in MMO activities usually
WoW
hang around
PvP
the
is so
PvP side
good,
of
at
things.
least in
Now,
Classic.
with that said, if any of you have played Final Fantasy XIV, I'm sure you all know where I'm getting with this. So the general consensus that I've gathered is that the PvP side of this game is one of its weakest points. And after
I've heard
playing
that
it for
too.
a few weeks, I think I can see why that is. Though I feel like I have to add that despite that, for the past few weeks, my MSQ progress has been halted entirely.
But it does
because I
look
got
nice,
distracted
though.
by the PvP shenanigans stuff that this game has.
One thing is weird, this is footage of some PvP here, right? Why does it look so nice, but people say it's actually not so good? I'm actually confused now, because what I'm seeing here in this like combat here, okay, you don't see the people's names, just Samurai Ninja. That's a bit weird. It would be cool if you could actually see the names of people, but it does look nice.
For the past few weeks, my MSQ progress has been halted entirely because I had gotten distracted by the PvP shenanigans stuff that this game has. So with that said, I feel like I can say
This
that
looks
there's
nice,
still
or doesn't
enjoyment to
feel
be had from the whole
nice, or what?
experience.
General concepts.
So the way the PvP works here is that it's all on a set stat template. Once you're level 30 and upgrade your class to a job, you can participate in all the PvP activities in the game with perfectly even footing. Now, how do you access the PvP in this game? Well, unlike WoW, there is no world PvP in this game, and with that, there's also like no dueling in the open areas. But you can duel people. In order to do that, you have to go to a very
I know why that isn't the case with World PvP, because the story and lore, especially if you do like the main quest, because it's about bringing the grand companies together, United Eorzea and stuff, like that's what I'm at now at the campaign, like the quest. And yeah, it wouldn't make sense from a lore perspective if there was like World PvP. That's probably why they didn't add it, because it would like contradict it, like it wouldn't make any sense.
specific spot in the world, kind of like how the Mugambala and Hook Point was designed to work as the PvP incentive in WoW, which didn't work very well. Now, where is this said PvP dueling ring? Well, let's make a game of it. Now here's the map of the general area as to where the dueling ring resides. I'd like you to take a guess as to where it might be.
Main city. Ah, that's basically Stormwind.
Now, if you pick this
Makes
location
sense.
over here, then you're absolutely dead wrong because the dueling ring is all the way in the middle of the ocean!
Oh yeah, I had a
WoW
quest
folks
there.
tend to like to say that PvP doesn't get enough attention from the devs, but good god, dudes, this takes it to a whole nother level. You have to go so far out of your way to unlock the small PvP zone over here by doing a quest that takes you to another middle of nowhere place to sell all the way over here. So, yeah. So after you get to the Loner's Pier, you'll realize that your abilities seem to be a little bit different. Because they are.
Wait. Hold up. So, if I'm not mistaken, okay, that's what... I play a Scholar too, so I'm super familiar with those skills and stuff. So yeah, that's what you have in PvE basically, right? Like when you're playing like all those skills and stuff. Wait, you don't even have a fairy? Hold up. You don't have a fairy in PvP? What? A Scholar without a fairy? That's just so wrong. If you don't have a fairy or a Scholar, you're no longer a Scholar. Like, what the... Wait, so you have not... Like, you have half your skills only for PvP? Is that how it is? Holy shit.
Just about every ability in the game is adjusted to meet the PvP template standards. So that means you have to go through all your abilities again to see what changed. Also, you access these PvP abilities in the PvP profile tab, not the usual abilities tab you go to in literally anywhere else in the world. Something else you'll need to get used to, which applies to the PvE side as well, is the animation blocks you have to account for in
I'm
combat.
shocked.
I didn't really mention this in the
I'm not gonna get into PvP probably.
Well, I flat out just forgot it. But every ability has some sort of animation lock before it's visually executed. Now, with that said, that kind of automatically implies that you're not going to be getting the fast, super responsive plays that you have in WoW, where you cast an instant cast ability and you can rely on it getting cast instantly. Here, you're going to have to get a lot more premeditated with your things in this game, because as soon as you use the ability, it technically has gone through in the system, but you don't really see the results until after the animation has ended. Sometimes the animation lock flat out blocks you from using another ability until it finishes its thing too, depending on what you play. So there's...
I get it now. That's why people are complaining PvP, because there's some sort of delay. Sometimes you die, or you can't escape a certain mechanic because you don't see if you're escaping it or not. So let's say someone uses a skill on you, and you want to use like a heal or so maybe like defense skill or something. And you have to like guess when the animation or something is like over or something like that. So the timing feels a bit off in PvP because of those animations. So you don't know, have I done my combo right? Did I get like hit right now? Should I use this shield? Should I heal now? Or sometimes you maybe take damage and the animation is still ongoing and you don't notice if you took damage or not, and you have, okay, I think that's a bit confusing, right?
Quite a few things to keep note of there. There's also this weird, almost permanent lag that's really apparent in duels especially. It makes overall reactive plays almost impossible to really do in time, and makes the
that's what I'm talking about with shields and heals.
Premeditation and anticipation more than an actual bar brawl that duels tend to be in WoW.
Community!
Oh wow, so that means, I'll give you guys an example also because of this lag what he said. So let's say you have like a skill that heals you up and you're now on 30% health in a duel. And you see, okay, your health bar is on 30%, but someone's already casting, but there's like a delay, so you don't see it. And you have like this one sort of shield skill or something, pluser here, and you want to use, and you don't know what you should use first, the shield and then the heal, or the heal and the shield or something. Like usually if you're like super low health, you first use the heal, then the shield, right? But you don't know if it's this situation or this situation, because there's like a delay and you maybe see only stuff happen like 2 seconds later or something like that, right? So you can't prepare for a reactive situation. Like you can't react basically because you don't know what will happen the next 2 seconds. So you don't know, should you pop your shield, your heal, should you go offensive now? Because it all happens 2 seconds, 3 seconds later or so. Oh, that sucks.
Oddly enough, one of the main reasons that I believe PvP is on the lower end of the spectrum in terms of content, and personally I think is the biggest reason, is because that, well, there just isn't that huge of a PvP community in comparison to other things. Should have even heard that the
PvE is so great
in this game is bigger than the PvP community. Well, actually, now that I think about it, it kind of makes sense, because Playboy. Fundamentally, you kind of need people playing it for it to really be a thing, because you can't really do PvP by yourself. It's just kind of how it works. Now, I'm not saying it's entirely dead. The casual form of big group PvP called Frontlines has a pretty decently active player base, mostly because it's the only PvP event that has a daily roulette attached to it. So you get both the PvP folks and the normal folks hopping in for some quick fun. But outside of Frontlines, yeah, the PvP community is really small, and the dedicated PvP player base is even.
But you know why that is? Because we have so many freaking dungeons in Final Fantasy XIV, they are so great and already challenging. I think if you have such a heavy focus on dungeons and you have so many and they are scaling, or let's say you are scaling with them, that gives you a almost infinite option of dungeons. You could go back to freaking, I don't know, City of Emdapur, like the Lost City. You can do, maybe you can do some stuff like Ifrit even if you wanted to, or Shiva. You can go into raids and stuff. You can do like the Crystal Tower. There's like so much stuff you can do in PvE that a lot of people don't even think about PvP because they have so much to pick that is not PvP basically.
Even smaller. And I know you WoW folks are probably thinking you'll see a whole bunch of the community is so great and nice type of thing despite its size. Well, you might get that the first few days of doing it, but after around a week of hanging around the dueling area, well, eventually you'll run into the more normal PvP crowd that you all are probably more accustomed to.
Okay, maybe I will not.
Maybe it's a
Try
little
it,
bit
or
more
I don't
tame
know.
than Dual Altar. I haven't really seen anyone sell people over their IRL profession choices, personal financial standing, or overall life worth based on rating yet. But since the community is worlds smaller than WoW's, fighting words tend to have a bit more of a personal touch to them here. That is when people actually show up.
Dueling!
So, as mentioned before, you can only really duel in this one very specific part of the game. The place is way off to the east in the Loner's Pier, and it's a square-shaped arena with 4 corner walls in the corners of the ring, and a pillar on the northern and southern ends to use as line-of-sight material. Honestly, dueling is one of my favorite activities in MMOs in general, so this is kind of the place I tend to hang around often by default nowadays. Unfortunately, though, a good majority of my experiences in the dueling ring lead to either me standing by myself at the pier, or me standing by myself while staring at a bunch of people staring at me just outside of the dueling pier. And those get a little awkward. However, when I do get around to dueling, I always end up having a good time, win or lose. Occasionally,
So it's fun.
There'll even be some events every now and then at the dueling ring where some players will host a tournament for other people to go through, and the winner gets some.
Like, I always feel like maybe PvP is like very spectacular to watch as well, because if you look at this, like those big explosions and those, like the animations are just so great. I know it's like kind of distracting in combat if you just see everything explode around you and you maybe can't even see your character. But to just watch others play, or to go on a battleground where everything is freaking exploding and lightning up, like this feels like really cool. Like you're going to some freaking fireworks show or something, right? Like I liked it. Maybe I'm into like good animations and stuff when it comes to combat. Like if in World of Warcraft you're doing PvP, there are some skills that do have cool animations, like for example Chaos Bolt on Warlock, right? If you're on Distro Warlock, like it's freaking cool. But there are a lot of skills that have like little animations and not so many effects. But I don't know, maybe it's just me, I have like flashy stuff. Like I thought that was actually so cool in ESO, for example. There were also some skills, like especially on the Sorcerer, where you like, can you make your enemy freaking explode with a curse and stuff, and you do see certain animations, or Dawnbreaker. Like there are some cool skills with animations there too in ESO.
Some type of big old prize, and that's when the dueling ring is like the most packed I
Wow, there are a lot
ever
of players.
see. It is a nice change of pace. However,
That's because
it
of
can
the
get a
event.
little wild.
Yeah.
Frontlines!
Ooh, frontlines.
So to all of you WoW folks out there, these are the battlegrounds of Final Fantasy XIV, and the game modes you play on them are pretty neat with some of their mechanics. They're also one of the most common PvP modes I play, mostly because it's the only one anyone queues for. But essentially, they're pretty similar in size to an Altric Valley or Isle of Conquest in WoW. But instead of a 40 versus 40 team, it's a 24 versus 24 versus 24. Yeah, you heard me. It's 3 teams of 24 people each. So the overall atmosphere and general tactics people incorporate into this game.
Wow,
is a bit different
okay,
than
you
WoW,
can't
since
see
they
much.
have to think about that second enemy team.
All
to do.
exploding,
I
you don't even
personally
see
don't
names
mind it,
anymore
and
almost.
I think it's an interesting bit of spice compared to the usual 2-team type of matches I'm used to in, well,
Yeah, those are
everything
big
else outside of
matches.
Guild Wars
Like
2.
a
There's also this
battleground,
baseline
like a-
mechanic across
a
all
war
lines
going
where
on.
killing someone yields your team 5 points and dying loses your team 5 points. So basically you're just like stealing 5 points from another team, and it really encourages both button mash and slaying and cautious introverted avoidance.
But those are
As
way too
interesting
few
as an
skills.
idea as it is, unfortunately, there just isn't really a wide variety of front lines to choose from. Whereas in WoW, you have Warsong Gulch, Arathi Basin, Altric Valley,
Yes.
Eye of the Storm, Strand of the Ancient, Isle of Conquest, Battle for Gilneas, Twin Peaks, Silver Shard Mines,
That's
Temple
more
of
than-
Mogu, Deepwind Gorge, and Seething
than
Shore.
FFXIV.
Final Fantasy XIV has Borderland Ruins, Seal Rock, Fields of Glory, and Onsod Hakir. Yeah, when you put them side by
That's
side,
just
there's
four.
like no comment really needed as to who has more PvP things to do. But let me make things a little bit spicier for you. The front lines are actually time locked to where you can only do one type of front line each day, and they currently cycle through them every
Wait, you can just do one each? Oh my gosh. Okay, I didn't know that. That's terrible then.
day. So if the limited variety wasn't enough, you're forced to pick only one type of frontline per day, and you can't even choose which one.
So you can't become a
It's
hardcore
already decided
PvPer.
for you. And guys, this is actually better than when I started doing the PvP thing, because I started playing pretty much a few weeks before the current season started, and apparently that cycling thing gets turned off entirely when it's that late into the PvP season. So I was stuck with doing nothing but Onsar Hakir over and over and over for a few weeks until this season started.
Oh no.
And oh boy, was it a breath of fresh air to not see Onsal again. I'll tell you that much. There are some other interesting baseline rules that applies to all frontlines as well. One that I particularly like is this battle high mechanic, where you do more damage and healing the more you fill up this bar over here. And the way you fill it up is by either getting killing blows or assists. So it actually strongly encourages you to be aggressive. And I think it's really neat. I mean, I don't think it'll...
Wait a moment, so the better you play, the stronger your character gets in a PvP match. That means if you kill a lot of enemies, your character gets this thingy filled up and you deal more damage. Meaning that if you're a good player, you're gonna be more good. Oh, wow. That's interesting. I think I like that mechanic, because that makes you want to play good.
Work well if implemented in WoW.
Because you get a nice buff.
Well, if someone's going like 22-0 in a battleground, then he's already either got a strong gear advantage, a solid skill advantage, a group of pocket healers, really lucky, or all of the above. And super boosting someone with that type of advantage is probably not the best idea. You also get an extremely punishing slow for 10 seconds if you get hit while mounted. So despite being able to mount anytime you want, quick getaways are kind of a tricky thing to pull off depending on what you're playing. But
so
altogether,
it's designed that you should die or fight.
Battleground itch that I tend to crave, and it's really easy to just hop in and get right into it after you get reacquainted with your PvP setup, that is. You son of a bitch! It can also be a super solid way to level up any of your jobs, because the first frontline roulette you do in the day is like a guaranteed half a level, no matter what level you are. So just doing that one frontline roulette a day can give you a pretty solid XP boost to any alt job you may be working on. And you don't even have to win. Like, that's just...
I don't even have to win. Okay, that's good to hear, because I was about to say just now, if you have like a low level character, like let's say I'm leveling a paladin and I'm level 34, for example. Like, I would be crazy weak if I encounter people 50, 60, 70, 80. But okay, that's good, so you don't need to win to get the XP.
Flat out normal, and if you win, it's like a little bit extra, and it's good stuff. In fact, that's kind of how I have this many high-level jobs without having completed Stormblood yet. So that's always a bonus.
Rival Wings!
Rival Wings,
this is pretty much a MOBA, but you're in it as an MMO pleb. I really wish I could show some footage of it, but for some reason, I decided not to record any of my adventures in there. But some of you may be thinking, well, just queue for it and get in it again. And to you, I respond, I tried. I tried. The only reason I was able to get in the first place...
Wait, hold up. Time elapsed 395 and the average waiting time is 30 minutes. That's unbelievable. That's crazy. Why would you even try it then?
I tried. The only reason I was able to get in the first place was because there was an event going on, and people had to collect these irregular tombstone things to buy limited time items. Rival Wings was one of the things
I need to get into that. I'm a collector. I will probably do it then.
So there was an actual incentive to queue for it. That event I mentioned is now ended, and so the Rival Wings queue seems to be just permanently dead now. Until they do something like that again, at least.
Feast!
So this is the rated arena in Final Fantasy XIV, and to you WoW folks, it's pretty different from the arenas you're used to. Whereas in WoW you had 2v2s and 3v3s. Here, it's a 4v4 situation.
But that's okay.
You have to have a specific group combination to enter. The goal is to collect more medals than the enemy team by the end of the timer, or until you collect 600
I mean, yes, our battlegrounds are not much different.
You heard me. It's not specifically just a one-life deathmatch like it is in WoW, though it technically falls under the deathmatch category, since the only way to collect
so what happens if you die?
Someone and grabbing their medals. But even so, you can still theoretically lose, even if you get more kills than the enemy team. And another thing, CC is actually very sparse in this game. Tanks have a stun, healers have a sleep, physical range DPS have a silence, and melee DPS don't have anything outside of the ninja's half.
So there's no balance.
It gets a bit more varied with caster DPS, like black mages have an AoE sleep, red mages have a root and a slow, and summoners have a stun. And
so it's not balanced.
Every single stun, sleep, and silence of the like lasts only 2 seconds, that's other than just half seconds.
Then you can burst someone
literally like 1 or 2 hits in before they're out of the CC. So you don't get a lot of time at all. So
Okay, that's really sucks because you often need this because if you have like a defensive enemy, one that has like a lot of heals or is like super tanky, like this is how I used to nuke people in Elder Scrolls Online. So I would apply my dots and debuffs and stack everything up, get my resources as high as I can, especially for like my ultimate ability, so it's like freaking ready. Like you're always aiming for your strongest skill and that the cooldown was off, so you can use it or it was charged. And then in Elder Scrolls Online, what I did, buffs, debuffs, and apply certain effects. And then I get my target to a certain health percentage, like let's say 70% health, for example. And then I use like a strong hitting skill together with a stun. So I stun a person on like 60-50% health. Then I use like my ultimate, my strongest skill. The person falls on 30-20%. And then I sometimes will like animation cancel a skill with an execute or something. Because you could like block cancel stuff. I mean, now they changed it in Elder Scrolls Online, but when you were like able to block cancel, you could basically hit someone with 2 hits in like just a second, right? And this is like nuke mode. Like you just stun someone, this person is already below half health, and boom, you just nuke them with like 2 shots. Like this is how you in Elder Scrolls Online in PvP nuke people. But here, since you don't have a stun, it's maybe like who can longer sustain or something. There's like a sustain fight going on there. Then you don't have so many burst combos. Unless you do like a team burst combo or something, I guess.
If you're expecting a full-on like triple poly combo and just triple cyclones to a full kidney in order to lock down the healer to just annihilate the rest of his team here, prepare to either be disappointed or pleasantly pleased, depending on how you see the CC situation in WoW, because that's not really gonna happen to that extreme.
I think CC is essential for PvP, in my opinion.
Does land in the same vein as that. But if both DPS burst a target with 0 CC applied anywhere, the healer and the kill target can still live through it with the use of defensives, burst healing on the healer's part, and defensive stunts and AoE mitigation on the tank's part. And when it comes to those instances, then it's mostly just a mind game with the enemy healer as to who you're going to burst down next. So you'll be switching targets like a madman just to throw the healer off. Another interesting thing that I was not expecting in a PvP environment that's so communication heavy is that you can't actually type anything to anyone when you're in the feast. You get these preset commands to use to tell who's going to be going down when. And the one you'll see the most often is focus target, and it'll pull down like a countdown timer of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and when it hits 0, everyone goes in and bursts them. Really handy. But another one I see used a lot is hello and nice job, where they will just spam the crap out of that when you ended up dying for a reason that may or may not be your fault. Yeah, there is a level of toxicity in this.
I'm okay as level of toxicity, but yeah, sometimes it's not your fault if you die if everyone goes for you. We had like duels and stuff, like group duels in Elder Scrolls Online, for example, and they would always go automatically for the healer or a class that has certain high dot skills, like dots that just nuke everyone. Like you go for either the healer or the one with like really strong dots and take them down first, because then you can deal with the rest.
Hold on. So turns out that hello is the feast lingo for my burst is ready, and it took me way too long to figure this out. If anyone is watching who has any connection with Square Enix employees, please, if anything, just let them add a new quick chat command where it just says my burst is ready instead of people saying hello, because new players like me, I thought it was being toxic, and that's not a good impression for trying to get people into a community that's already at the size of a pebble. Okay, so yeah, that'd be great if they made that change. I got more to talk about this, but I'm not gonna talk about it here. All right, back to the video. But despite the fact that the community is as small as it is, I was actually able to get into some rated feast matches because this game has solo queue. And it's because of that one reason that I was able to accrue the footage that you see now.
Oh, that's good.
Enix, you may not be doing all that hot when it comes to handling your PvP situation, but I gotta give you some props for making solo queue exist.
That's nice.
Lord, man, it's definitely helped my experience with the accessing PvP.
I would probably try PvP.
Kind of. Alright, so I'm gonna go back to bashing the dang thing by saying just, holy God, PvP just completely dies at the end of a PvP season. When I was trying to queue for the feast before this current season started, there was just not a chance in the world I was getting in that business. But anywho, that kind of about covers the gist of it for PvP. I can go into detail in several of the things I've mentioned here, but I think I'll reserve that for another time. Personally, my thoughts on the whole thing is I still very much enjoy the dueling experience, and I kind of just wish more people did them. And honestly, I still hold on to my statement that the biggest downside to Final Fantasy XIV's PvP experience is that the community for it is just really, really small. That could also
because
be the
dungeons are so
domino
good.
effect as well, with the game giving very few real incentive for anyone to jump in outside of the occasional seasonal mounts and gear. And even then, I heard people being upset with some general PvP changes, and apparently at one point there was no PvP specific abilities. You just used your normal PvE kit and gear actually made a difference. So I entirely missed that boat apparently. Overall though, PvP is naturally a fast-paced type of thing where strategy and quick decisive thinking and reactions are core enjoyment of the
should be fast-paced
outside of directly asserting dominance over another person, of course. And I can definitely see how the natural slower delivered nature of abilities
this Dark Knight had a nice comeback.
The standards people tend to hold for a PvP environment, being that each ability has an animation lock of some sorts and whatnot. However, despite its faults and limitations, like I stated at the start of the video, I've literally been doing nothing but PvP for the past 2 weeks. And call me a
sad, strange little man.
But I actually have been enjoying the PvP comment in this game. So much so that my biggest problem with the PvP in this game is that there aren't enough people to fight.
So he has a good experience with
this
PvP.
video is getting long as is. So I'm just going to wrap it up here. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful life. Take care, folks.
Thank you, you too. Oh wow, interesting. Okay, so PvP is actually not bad. It's good at the end, he said in the conclusion. But yo, I'm not sure if I will even see what's happening around me because of all those big explosions, and like I said, it's like a fireworks show or something. But it does look fun, and I think it's interesting that there are like those really big battles with like 10 people against 10 people or something. Like this footage we saw at the end of this video with like so many people fighting, and with this Dark Knight that dropped a low health a few times and then had like these nice comebacks, right? I think PvP looks fun because it looks like you're going to war something, and he liked it. But yeah, with this CC situation, oh, that would be a bit tricky because I'm so used to CCs in games, like to CC my target and then nuke him. Okay, but yeah, if you're in a group, probably doesn't matter. You just focus everything on one person. Like you just say a name in chat, or you're on Discord with people, and then on Discord you say, hey, go for, I don't know, the Dark Knight, go for the Bard, go for this person. It's probably like that, and then you just nuke them. You just out DPS their healing and shielding. That's just how they also dealt with this Dark Knight at the end, right? But interesting. I definitely want to try Final Fantasy XIV's PvP. Like I will try PvP, but I will definitely focus more on PvE because it seems like there aren't too many battlegrounds and stuff here. And the focus is definitely more on PvE, that's why we have so many dungeons, but I will definitely give it a shot at some point. And yeah, if you guys are new to this channel, please don't forget, hit that subscribe button for more content. And I would also appreciate if you like this video. This will help out with the YouTube algorithm. And I wish everyone a wonderful day. I will see you guys next time.